Liberty Bibbity, Liberty Bibbity at Liberty Mutual. Just dub it in.
As a struggling actor.
That is great. That guy is fantastic.
Liberty Bibbity.
As a struggling actor.
What if I came out of the water?
You take a guy that has basic foundational mechanical skills and strong communication skills, and how much money can that guy make in second or third year in the industry? I mean, it's really, really impressive.
Whether you want to go an academic track or whether you want to come into the vocation trades, I think we need to sell the sizzle, and we need to explain to them that it's actually a noble vocation.
What we find is that you've got to start planting the seeds probably in the middle school. That's really where you got to get to, and you've got to find a way to make that happen.
Hey guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about Epic coming up this fall. We're expecting 1,200 people this year after 800 last year. How awesome is that?
Fantastic.
That's going to be amazing energy.
Yeah, at the ARIA.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things I'm most excited about is we're going to do some of these events live at Epic. No cigars, because we're going to be indoors, of course. But let's talk a little bit about that, what people can expect to have this conversation with them in the room.
One of the, I think, great opportunities, maybe have some people send in some comments, from this discussion.
Great idea.
And post, what they would like to hear us actually riff about. And that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. If they tell us what they want to hear, I mean, not only are we going to be talking about their topics, but we're going to be feeding off the energy in that room.
Yeah.
I should say it's going to be electric with 1,200, maybe 1,500 people.
Well, we won't have just Andy to laugh at our jokes. We'll have a whole room to laugh at our stuff.
Yeah.
That'll be nice. So at the ARIA, Epic.
Yep.
We're going to do, I think, 3 or 4 of these, something like that, as a breakout session. Hopefully get a lot of our folks to show up and as you mentioned, submit in comments in this video what they'd like to see us talk about. Because we're here, we're talking about what we think is important. And obviously that really is important because we thought it would be. Just kidding. But we want to hear from the audience about what they think is important, what they want to hear from you guys, what's really going on. So guys, if people want to register for Epic this year, if they haven't already, where do they go? Where's the sign up on this thing?
They need to go to epic2020event.com.
Okay.
Make sure that we get everybody to understand that they need to sign up quickly, because last year we had about 800 slots and a lot of people didn't get to come because it filled up. And so we want to make sure that everybody reacts quickly.
So good advice. Sign up early at epic2020event.com.
Be there.
Guys. I'll see you there.
See you there.
So guys, here we are in Scottsdale, Arizona. Good to see you guys again.
Great to see you.
Here for another series of our Unfiltered podcast. And as usual, we're going to introduce the topic of cigars and whiskey and hopefully some stuff that will make sense to contractors in their business. So Gary, before we get started, why don't you talk about what we're drinking?
Yeah, this is a Macallan rare cask. So Macallan's got a whole bunch of different scotches. This one is, I think, probably one of my favorites. So it's rare, obviously, and it's probably a price point that's just a little on the higher end versus maybe a Macallan 12 or a Macallan 18. But I would highly recommend it if for a special occasion. This is a special occasion for us. So hope you guys are enjoying that. I'm actually working on a Perdomo champagne cigar here. Wally, I'm not sure what you got there. Cohiba,
well,
maybe?
I just finished a Macanudo earlier, and this is Cohiba. It's not a Havana Cohiba. It's Nicaraguan. With Cuban seed.
Yep.
And but before we go any further, when you talk about this cask, certainly we should partake to see if it's going to be as good as we hope it is.
Here's to you guys, my good friends,
yes.
Wally and Drew.
Oh, that's divine.
Wow. Kind of smooth.
It is like liquid gold, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So one of the things we talked about probably last summer in one of our episodes was contribution and different ways that we can take our success and give back to the people we love, of course, but also to the industry. And one of the things that EGIA has been working on, as you well know, you're on the board of trustees, I'm on the board of trustees, is the EGIA Foundation, which is a foundation dedicated to supporting the trades as a first choice for career. Not like, oh, I didn't want to do this, I guess there's nothing else, I'll go on the trades. You know, the reality is we know that you get young people in this business making $100,000 a year for a fraction of the cost of a 4-year education. I was watching, I saw on Facebook recently, it was this meme about this kid that went to college for 4 years and had a party and was having fun and had a bunch of debt. And this other kid that went to vocational school, into the trades, an HVAC trade, was making $100,000 a year. And there are numerous politicians that want that HVAC guy to pay for the other kid's education and pay off the student loans. But that's a whole other story. This is apolitical. So, but let's talk about what EGIA Foundation is doing, why it's important, and why should contractors care. We know there's a shortage in the industry of good people, and let's just talk about that and see where the conversation goes.
Sure. Yeah, there's a, I think that it's a dual problem, right? It's a shortage of good people in the trades, shortage of people coming into the trades, but there's also an overage of companies that don't do things right, that don't play the game at the highest level, and if we got rid of some of them and constricted the industry a little bit, and that everybody was doing things the way that they should do it, pulling the licenses, pulling the permits, doing the certifications, and doing things the right way. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to push anybody out of business, but what I'm saying is that the companies that are doing things right, they're looking for A players, and you're not going to find A players coming into your business. And if they are, odds are you're just getting somebody else's headache and heartache probably. So the now and the future of this industry is going to be dependent upon contractors becoming master recruiters and bringing people into the trades in all capacities, not just technicians, but also in the office spaces, as well as the sales spaces, as well as leadership spaces. And we've got to become. We've got to make the trades fun and exciting and enjoyable, and show people that not only can they have a job that they can be proud of, but they can have a life that they love, and they don't have to go into major debt through college and learn a topic that 75% of what they learn when they come out after 4 years is obsolete. You can
Take a job in the trades, earn while you learn, right? In many cases, not only earn while you learn, be paid to learn, maybe even get your tools paid for, and you're making money, your tuition is being paid for. If not, your tuition is very low compared to a 4-year degree or even a 2-year degree. But that's the other thing. In the trades, you're looking at, 6 months to a year to get the education you need, depending on the position that you're going to take within the trades. But right. You can get the education within a fraction of the time, fraction of the investment, make money while you're doing it, and be a contributing member of society quicker. Because I know a lot of people, we probably all do, right? And even some of our viewers know a lot of people who went to a 4-year college, got the degree, came out, and couldn't get a job. And if they did get a job, it was making far below what you can make in the trades.
Right. Well, thank you for bringing up my son. Took my kid 7 years to get through a 4-year program. That was my boy. Gary, what are your thoughts on that, just in terms of the importance of, or the value, I guess, of an education in the trades versus a more traditional, maybe 4-year degree?
Yeah, I think Drew hit on a bunch of different salient points. We're sending kids on the academic route in a lot of the high schools. I think one of the things that contractors need to recognize is we need to get into the high schools and we need to promote the opportunities in the trades. Whether you want to go an academic track or whether you want to come into the vocation trades, I think we need to sell the sizzle, and we need to explain to them that it's actually a noble vocation. You can support your family and do well. The second thing that you see is a lot of the schools academically, are selling kids on degrees that aren't useful to me as a business owner. Nothing against, getting a degree, but you got to actually have the end in mind. What are you going to do when you get your degree? So if the degree is in, something that's not useful to the businesses that are hiring, I think we're seeing a lot of that. And that's, you're building up this this $100,000-$200,000 debt on a student loan. You come out and your degree doesn't have a place. So I think the selling message is, in the schools, let's focus on where you're going to be able to earn a really great living. The second thing is we have a variety of contractors. So we've got guys that are startup businesses. You just started up this business in Colorado Springs, and you're doing great, which is amazing. But as a startup, you need some bodies. You need some people to function and do the work. Then there's the mid-range contractor, maybe a family business that's second or third generation. Dad has made a lot of money. The next generation comes in and they need to grow. They want to grow. They're going to need to support that. We're seeing retirements occurring, from the technicians that have been in the trade. So we're losing that knowledge, and we got to replace those folks. And then the third, group of contractors, the scaled businesses out there, and there's a bunch of them out there. They can support this organically. So there's many contractors, including our own, where we have our own school. We have an organic system inside of our company. So I can hire somebody from high school and I can train them for a year, teach them how to be a maintenance tech, give them the tools necessary, and essentially get them on the track. So 80% of the industry, though, falls into the category of either startup or mid-range. So EGIA is supporting that, through looking at the foundation, looking at scholarships, and the things that we can do as members, as EGIA members, is, some of that money is being dedicated towards the scholarships and the training. So I think the problem has a lot of different places, a lot of areas that need to be dealt with, and I think as an industry we need to unify and figure out how to do better. And so that's one of the things I guess we're trying to do organically, is figure out how to train these young guys. But you got to get into the VOTEC schools, you got to get into the high schools, you got to make a concerted effort, and EGIA is definitely focused on that.
One of the things that the foundation that's doing so great is these scholarships to help, bridge that gap between somebody who wants to go to VOTEC school or trade school or whatever and needs the money. And those scholarships are really, really important. You mentioned my new company in Colorado. We just hired a couple of young guys straight out of a local, trade school. And, you take a guy that has basic foundational mechanical skills and strong communication skills, and how much money can that guy make in second or third year in the industry? I mean, it's really, really impressive. You've seen it, I see it. I mean, guys can come in, if they're strong on the communication side. 10 or 15 years ago in this industry, if you were strong on the mechanical side, you could make a living. Now the expectation is you got to be good on the mechanical side and the communication side, right? But the people that can put those two things together, which don't require a 4-year education, communication skills can be taught, you teach them, right? Some of them are, just innate, people have them with some basic mechanical skills. And I mean, there's guys out there in their second and third year in the business making $100,000 a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So think about that in terms of, I'm just going to throw out some round numbers, sort of $6,000 to maybe $10,000 to be able to support the funding of a technical education. And you might spend, on the low end, sort of $30,000, $35,000 on a 4-year degree. My kids, they were, upwards of $120,000, $150,000 for their 4-year degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're sending them to a school and you're paying for it, it's a lot of money. So they can be producing $80,000 to $100,000 incomes and not necessarily be in debt. And I think we're not doing a good job of communicating those messages. But I do believe the youth today is seeing sort of that negative message from the press that, hey, you're out there and you've got this student loan debt. Why are you doing that? And so the political message is, we got to fix that.
Right.
But I think the opportunity is there for us as an industry to get in and mix it up a little bit. And we have to be good salespeople, inside of the schools to communicate that. So.
Drew, I'd like to get your opinion on this particular issue, because again, you're on the board of trustees for the foundation, which is separate from EGIA. It's the EGIA Foundation, a little separate entity to support this activities conversation we're talking about.
Right.
But there was some research that the foundation did a year or two ago that talked about the impressions that people had about the trades, and unfortunately, it wasn't glowing. But the real surprise to me in the research was that it was the parents that often looked and guided their kids away from the trades.
Absolutely.
And that's really a shame. And what I'd like to hear about, Drew, is that the foundation has been producing content, in particular video you were talking about earlier, to kind of shift that impression, that perception towards the trades. Talk to us about the foundation's role in developing that content and the impact that can have, not just on parents and changing their perceptions, but how contractors can use that to help recruit the right people.
Yeah. The EGIA Foundation, egiafoundation.org, separate from Contractor University. We built that to do basically three things: to do some industry research and studies, to give that research to the stakeholders. That would be the contractors and the distributors and manufacturers, to better understand what's going on within the industry. And one of the research studies that we commissioned, the research study that we commissioned first was the one on the skills gap. The other thing we wanted to get into was doing something where we could give scholarships, and then the third thing was consumer awareness, right? So the thing that we're talking about here today is, what is EGIA Foundation doing to help contractors and help the industry, quite frankly, lessen that skills gap. And so the first thing was this research study that was done. I think it's called Bridging the HVAC Skills Gap. And it was a $50,000 study. We hired a third-party organization called Decision Analyst, who also happens to do the American Comfort Survey for the industry that you get to read about in some of the trade publications. So they went out there and they did interviews with trade schools and high schools and colleges and parents and students of all walks of life. And what they found, like you said, was that the parents didn't see this as an honorable profession that their kids would be proud of to go into. And the kids didn't think that their parents would be proud of them for going into it.
Right.
So it wasn't that there was like one party versus the other, that it was like mutual mystification. They both weren't on the same page, yet they weren't talking about it, right?
Right.
And so that was one of the biggest findings of the research. The other big finding that they came across was that you talk about getting to them in high school, and we certainly got to get to them in high school. You got to get to them for sure. Back to school night their junior year, back to school night their senior year. These kids that are taking a gap year as well. But what we find is that you've got to start planting the seeds probably in the middle school.
Yeah.
That's really where you got to get to, and you've got to find a way to make that happen. And we did Ignite events last year where we went around the United States, the three of us, and we talked about some things. And my topic happened to be on recruiting. And I presented a whole bunch of resources. And that content is available on the EGI website there. The video, the downloadable resources of all the websites that you could go to recruit and source talent. But that's the thing, is that EGIA is trying to help contractors not look to the traditional means by which of recruiting, for recruiting people. Indeed.com and Monster and ZipRecruiter, those are good resources, but where else can you source talent? Because you're gonna have to look outside the trades, and you're gonna have to bring people into the trades. Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs fame,
Yep.
and somebody's got to do it. He basically said we got to make work cool again, and so we have to make the trade sexy, sex appealing, if you will, to where people say, you know what, that looks cool. I can see myself doing that, right? And I say this with all due respect to the people in the military who are there today and have served, and God bless them for doing that job, and those who've made the ultimate sacrifice, and those who've served in the past. And so grateful for what they do. It allows us to do this, right? But how is it that the military, in their commercials, their marketing and advertising, makes looking, at their career, the possibility of actually going and fighting for the country, but possibly losing your life, they make that look so cool that people
Right.
go and sign up for that before they would look to sign up for a trade where we make an impact in people's lives. I mean, we go into people's homes and businesses, and we make them healthy and safe and comfortable and energy efficient. And we give them a safe haven in which to work and to live. Mm-hmm. And, if those people can do that, what is it they could do? What can the businesses do, the hospitals do, the research laboratories and whatnot do, because the environment is healthy, comfortable, and safe? What can a kid do who's in a house that's healthy, comfortable, and safe, right? And the home's energy efficient? Might that kid go on somewhere and cure cancer, And we don't look at our trade like that. We look at it as though we're turning wrenches, putting gauges on and things like that. And no, we are changing people's lives.
Yep.
And like you said, you can do well by doing good, for people. And I think the trades have not been looked at as a meaningful place to go get that career. And so I see with what we're doing at the EGIA Foundation, go download the research report for sure. Look at the scholarships. We gave 20 last year and 20 the year before, $2,500 scholarships to bring people into the trades. You as a contractor, you can sponsor a scholarship. And as a member of EGIA, $10 of your monthly fees go towards these scholarships. So we're looking to bring people in. And the other cool thing that you touched on is the video. The video is a PSA, it's a public service announcement that you can host on your social media channel, you can put it onto your recruiting page, you can share it with the local schools, and you can see it at alwaysindemand.com. And it is a very well done video that really shows not only the cool aspects of our industry and the impact that you can have doing the work and how much you can actually sink your teeth into the work and enjoy that, but the life that you can have. So you can have a job that you're proud of, but also the life that you love.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead, Gary.
I was just going to say, I mean, just listening to that whole conversation, I mean, this really is a marketing problem.
Yeah.
It's 100% a marketing problem. The military does a great job of marketing and communicating that message, and we as contractors have to accept that this is a marketing challenge. We have to figure out how to not only use the video, but maybe bring an owner and a service technician, successful people into those middle schools, and we need to sell the message. We've got to start from the beginning and communicate the idea that this is a place you want to be. This is a noble profession. We are, in some cases, we're saving people's lives. I mean, if you're looking at indoor air quality and some of the things that we've seen, people are sick. So sick building syndrome is a real thing.
Carbon monoxide poisoning.
Absolutely. So we have to just think about how to be better as contractors at getting in the local side of this. The national side is what we're doing here at EGI. We're obviously going to support that. But as contractors, we need to be better at this. We have to take this as an initiative in our marketing plan.